Vítáme vás. Tak, omlouvám se, můj český, není dost dobré pro prezentace v česky, takže budu prezentace v angličtině a prezentace bude proložena. Good morning, everyone, again. Thank you, Peter, for the introduction. And welcome, everyone. I'm glad to see so many people here. It's a great honor to host you. As you will know, we at Trouw Nutrition, we are a global company, but with a very local approach. So we operate in 86 countries worldwide, but in each of these countries, we have a very local team attending to the local needs of our customers. And I know that you experience this every day with our team here in Czech. Today I would like to show you a little bit of that global context. So we're going to look at the global and then slowly zoom into the Czech Republic. Some of you might have been at the swine seminar in summer in our factory in Prague. Some of the graphs you will see are similar, but we updated it with the latest information and we also added some new things. When I first started working in this industry, in animal nutrition, one of the first things that I learned is that half of the pigs live in China. So before African swine fever, there were about 800 million pigs living at a certain moment, and half of them lived in China. Another 10% lives in the USA, about 4% lives in Germany, 4% in Spain, and then another 10% in the other countries in Europe, such as the Czech Republic. Then another 3 to 4% in Brazil, 2% in Russia, 2% in Vietnam, 2% in Canada, and then about 12% in other countries in the world, which include Ukraine, other countries in Latin America, like Argentina, Chile, Australia, New Zealand, those countries. That was the situation, and I think that has been stable. That was stable for quite some time, until African swine fever. African swine fever really changed this whole situation. It is now estimated, according to official estimates, that in China, this year production will be down by 25%, and next year it will be down by even 37%. And these are still the official estimates that the government gives, which can be different than reality. So that means if you look at the amount of pigs that are slaughtered less, that this year 155 million pigs less will be slaughtered, and next year even 230 million pigs less will be slaughtered. To put that amount into context, that is 230 million pigs slaughtered is as much as the production of the number 2, number 3, and number 4 producing countries combined. So it's as much as USA, Spain, and Germany combined. Or, to put it differently, if I go back to my piglets, all of these basically are gone. What does that mean? Well, first of all, that means that prices in China are going up and going up rapidly. This is information from the Rabobank, and they now estimate that the prices of live hogs, or live pigs, got 72 coronas per kg. Price of pig meat is about 102 coronas. The prices of piglets are as far as 150 coronas per kg. Good news, of course, for the farmers that are not affected by African swine fever, but bad news for the consumers and for the industry. This whole demand will not be met only by importing pork. If you look at China now, how they compensate for the lack in animal protein, you actually see that a lot of it is done by aquaculture. China produces about 19 million tons of aquaculture per year. So for them, 3 million increase is manageable. And actually, I think for those of you who were there in the summer, I think aqua was then still smaller, but the research has shown that really a lot of the Chinese, they switch now to aquaculture. Tilapia, crayfish, shrimp, those kind of fish. Another big increase, or another switch is made to chicken meat, so broilers, another 2 million tons, to layers, so eggs, 2 million, and then there's the import. So the estimates are that another 2 million tons is imported, which is still a lot of pork meat. This is about as big as Poland, the total production of pork. Then another 2 million tons will be imported from other animal proteins. So this is import from beef, from chicken, and you see that especially from Australia, New Zealand, relatively close to China. A lot of beef is moving now to China. And then the rest of the gap is basically not filled. So 3 million tons that used to be pork meat consumed in China is basically the people who don't eat animal protein at this moment. So they just can afford it. So that's another 3 million tons, which is basically at this moment not being substituted. If we look at this exports, imports to China, who will provide it? Who can do that? Well, there's a couple of obvious candidates, of course, if you look at the big producers. A couple also are not obvious candidates. Russia, for one, is not an obvious candidate because Russia, although being a big producer, still is a net importer. So before they can export, it will take some time. Also Vietnam. In Vietnam there's also now massive African swine fever, so also they will not import to China. In fact, it was said that in the old days Vietnam had a lot of basically informal, as they call it, illegal imports to China, but this now also stops because of African swine fever. So who are then the obvious candidates to basically fill the gap in China? US, of course, Brazil, Canada, Europe. So let's look at each of them and let's analyze what is going on there. Let's start with the US, the obvious one, the second biggest producer. I think, as you all know, the US and China are not in the best relationships at this point. So they are engaged in a trade war in which one country imposes tariffs and then the other one responds, usually with the same amount, and then they impose tariffs and then the other one responds, and this game goes on forward. Pork and also soy have been part of these tariffs as well, and the current increase in tariffs is 40% on pork or soy from the US. That is a lot. However, recently the Chinese government announced that they will not further increase that. So they will stick to the 40% tariffs. And what you see, it's a lot of lines, I realize that, but let me see if I can show it. Basically, this is the US pork prices. This is the US pork prices plus the 40% tariffs. Actually, you see that the prices in China are now so high that even with these high tariffs, it makes sense for companies to export to China. Of course, they still compete with other companies that export to China, but right now it makes sense for US companies, even with high tariffs, to export. And also the Chinese need it, right? They also see that they have limited other options, so they will not further increase the tariff, I think. That said, there is of course always this man, and he's always a factor, and you never know what he's going to tweet next, what he's going to do next, and what he's going to do to offset the relations between China and the US. So that is the US. So possible supplier, although engaged in a trade war. and very unclear how these relations will develop. Let's look at another big supplier. That is Brazil. Brazil is an obvious candidate, I think, because Brazil exports a lot of raw materials, especially corn and soy. It's the largest soy exporter in the world, and it's the second largest corn exporter, slightly behind the US. This is a map of the global trade flow. The blue is soy. So you see all the soy going from Brazil to China. Brazil can also turn that soy into pigs and then basically sell the pigs to China. And this is also what they're trying to do. However, as you might or might not know, Brazil is recovering from a big scandal in the meat industry. In 2017, two of their biggest companies were involved in basically what they call carne fraca, which is Portuguese for bad meat. Turned out that they were exporting a lot of rotten meat, or very bad meat, to other countries, and that the customs were basically should make sure that it doesn't happen, or bribed to still let the export through. When this got out, China was the first to close the borders, and since then they have been very strict on imports from Brazil. And as you see, these companies are huge. So the two big companies involved, BRF, Brazil Foods, and GBS, together almost half of this is 2017 numbers, were almost half of the total production in Brazil. So GBS alone has about 220,000 sows, or had 220,000 sows at the time, and BRF had more than 400,000 sows. So really big companies, but now under a lot of scrutiny from China. And for the Chinese to resume imports, it will mean that the Chinese will come to inspect the Brazilian facilities. So it will also take some time for all this potential that is in Brazil to build up. Then let's look at another possible exporter, which is Canada. Historically, Canada has been producing more than their own needs, and that has always gone into the US. So basically, Canada produces about 2.1 million tons, and 1.2 million tons goes to the US, especially to the northern dense areas, Chicago, New York, all of that. US, in turn, exports roughly the same amount, 1 million tons, to Mexico. This was also the situation a few years ago. However, this man came again, and what did he do? He promised to build a wall with Mexico. To which the Mexicans responded, if you're going to do that, then we are no longer going to buy your pork. So all of a sudden, this 1.1 million ton that used to be exported to Mexico was basically not exported anymore, which means that some of the volume from Canada will not go into the US, but Canada still has this capacity, so they can export more. And it's also what they did. So they were a big exporter to China. However, also here politics came into play. Earlier this year, Canada arrested this lady. She's the CFO of Huawei. Huawei is the big telecom company. You might know it from the mobile phones, but they also do sensors and transponders and those kind of things. She was arrested in Canada, and not long after, Chinese came back and basically found forbidden feed additives in shipments of pork from Canada. And basically banned the import from Canada. CFO, by the way, was arrested at the request of the US. She will also probably be extradited to the US. So again, you see politics got involved, and the Chinese were very strict on the imports. Canada is still exporting to China, but also here politics got involved. So that if you then look at who are the biggest exporters to China now, and the increase, if you look at the first half of this year and the first half of last year, You see those countries that we just looked at. USA is exporting a little bit more despite the sanctions. Brazil is exporting a bit more. Canada is exporting a lot more to China. But if you actually look, it's the countries in Europe that are exporting much more to China. Spain, Germany, Holland, Netherlands, I should say, Denmark, France, and GB. Great Britain is of course question mark. Are they still in Europe or not? Today they are. We'll see how they will evolve for the next couple of weeks. Personally, I think they will stay in for a little bit longer. So for now, let's still include them as part of the. So together, the additional exports to China were another 75,000 tons from these countries. Why the EU then? I think first of all, because in the EU we are still managed to keep good relations with West and East. So we're still good relations with the US, we have good relations with Brazil, with Argentina. At the same time, we also have good relations still with China. And that's a good position to be in. Secondly, and we'll show you a graph on that later, we are very efficient producers in Europe. More efficient than I think our counterparts, for instance, in the US and Canada. And thirdly, we have quite stringent regulations in Europe concerning the use of antibiotics or other chemicals, which in these cases actually helps better meat quality, and it helps the export to China. And fourthly, of course, African swine fever is not here, although it's at the borders, but in the main producing countries it's not yet. And I think internationally also Czech is really being seen as the example of how to solve African swine fever. I think if I speak to my colleagues abroad, there's a lot of respect and to how the Czechs handled African swine fever. Funnily enough, if we look at Czech, a lot of these countries that now do much more export to China are also the countries doing imports into Czech. Right? Our biggest import here in Czech is from Germany. They are a big exporter now to China. Second biggest is from Spain. They are a big exporter now to China. And the Netherlands is also, we don't import too much, but is also an importer. And they are also now a big importer into China. At the same time, these countries, while they increase their export to China and still import relatively the same amount here to Czech, there's a lot of pressure in these countries for environmental rules and stronger environmental rules. This is a picture from the Netherlands last week, where farmers went to the capital city to protest. Basically, they were with hundreds and hundreds of tractors. They blocked all the roads, the longest traffic jam in the history of the country, more than 1,000 kilometers of traffic jam. And if you know the Netherlands, that's more or less all the roads that are in the Netherlands, I think, that are blocked. And why did they protest? Because some politicians said we need to reduce livestock, and we need to reduce by 50% all the livestock that we keep in this country. We have a big nitrogen problem in the Netherlands, and this was proposed as one of the solutions. In the end, I don't think that will be implemented, but it shows how big the pressure is on the industry in the Netherlands. And I think for Germany, there are similar trends. A lot of stringent rules, very hard for swine producers to basically do business and even to expand. At the same time, if I look at Czech, and I did a little benchmark with my colleagues, I think here in Czech, you are actually really doing a good job. So, piglets per sow per year, one of the indicators often mentioned. If I check it, yes, the Danish, they are very good. Yes, the Dutch, they are good, but the Czechs are not far behind, and actually very close to Germany, and actually ahead of, for instance, a country like Brazil, which has a few of these really big producers, which you would expect to be really high performance. And let's also look at Great Britain, for instance, 27, Spain 26, and Canada, USA, at a much lower level in terms of sow productivity. So that for me raises the question, basically question to you, what can we do here in Czech? Is this an opportunity for us to grow, to produce more, and to become more self-sufficient in Czech? We see that the global trade flows, that a lot of swine is going towards China, a lot of that comes from Europe, a lot of that from Europe comes from countries that now import into Czech. So I think that's a good opportunity perhaps for the sector here in Czech to benefit from. Of course, I know also in Czech it's not easy. There are a lot of rules, and there are a lot of regulations. Also here, the environmental rules are getting stronger and stronger. Still, I think if I compare it to, for instance, the Netherlands, where I lived a long time, I think there's more opportunity to business here. Whatever your ambition is today, if you want to grow, if you don't want to grow, we are here to support you with Trouw Nutrition. We can support you on the quality of the meat, and I think Dr. Kova will tell us more about that. And after that, also Better Clappers will tell about that. We're also here to support you to comply with new regulations, like the zinc oxide reduction. Pavel Grower will tell more about that. And we're also here to support you with practical advice. And Milos Kubicek will later on give a presentation on sunflower. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a pleasant and inspiring day. Dziękuję bardzo.
Děkuji Jorisovi za jeho prezentaci.